man. Damn it, StreamYard. Oh, somewhat happy Friday. Let me fix this real quick because I really can't stand not having to cut out. There we go. All right, happy Friday. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Live, Star Trek Weekly. This is our weekly stroll around the Star Trek neighborhood, mainly whatever TV show is going to be going on at the time. In this particular case, it is Picard Season 3, Episode 8, titled Surrender. When I first heard that title, I'm like, oh no, what the hell is going to happen? But I figured, it was going to be a play on words and it was going to be involved in something that wasn't necessarily the front of the actual show. And it turns out it was. So this is going to be a really short show because I'm starving. So we're going to bring in Wingman Brian real quick, and we're going to discuss that show. How you doing, Brian? It seems like 48 hours since we last, huh?
Yeah, no. Well, we did talk a little bit during First Contact Day, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I would have joined you
for the
live,
watch along.
I couldn't be part of the watch along because I couldn't get the commercial things away. I was willing to pay Paramount Plus, but it would not take it, and in time for me to be able to watch it. And otherwise, we'd have been all time screwed up. So I got with you afterwards. So,
good, man.
This episode was good. I mean, it was as good as any. It wasn't the best episode, but it was good enough. It did everything it needed to do to propel the story along to these last two episodes. Some people said goodbye to the show as far as like dying goes. By the way, guys, this is a spoiler-filled show. Let me put that banner down there, and just in case, I put it in the descriptions and everything. Which sometimes you get those people who I don't want you guys having a conniption in the chat when you hear something that we about to, because now we're going to talk spoilers all the way through. Yeah, my favorite Vulcan is gone. Or my favorite Vulcan on this show. My favorite Vulcan is actually going to be in the next couple episodes, which is Tuvok. But my favorite Vulcan, as far as the Titan crew, she met her demise. She met it with dignity, and just made me want Vadic to die all that much more. I didn't realize it was going to be that episode, though. I thought Vadic was truly going to last. She was going to be one of the final villains, but she's gone, and that just underscores that the person who's at the head of all this is a real piece of crap.
Oh yeah, no, we're dealing with a real piece of work.
I was of the same opinion as Brian. I was getting tired of the monologuing.
Yeah, I was like, somebody better suck her out an airlock really quick.
Well, it's right. That was a nod to Chang. Remember when Chang in Star Trek 6?
Oh yeah.
Was doing the monologues, and McCoy's like, I'd pay good money to shut him up.
Yeah, I'd pay real money if you just shut up.
Yeah, and as soon as Data comes back online, he recognizes the same thing we did. One monologuing
protoplasms has to now be my favorite line out of any Star Trek.
Very true.
So the episode starts off where it was basically like they promised this was a 2-part episode almost between this one and the last one. But them basically, taking back the ship. She starts out holding people hostage, saying, doing the usual hostage thing. If you don't come forward, I'm going to kill somebody every 10 minutes. Jack being, for everything you want to say about Jack Crusher, he's a heroic. He did not want to let that happen. But they had to stop him from getting on there. And even Captain Shaw was like, Seven, there's nothing you can do. There's consequences. You can't, do all this. And then, she ends up helping out. I thought that the intensity of, knowing, of that whole hostage thing was intense, even if it was generic and else used all the time. They did it perfectly here. Like I said, I wish my favorite Vulcan, she ends up being killed as one of the first ones. And then, that was Vadic's last kill. All that killing she's done, that's her last kill. Because not too soon after that, Data comes back online. And in one of the probably, as I think about it more, one of the cooler one-on-one Star Trek interactions, and it happens to be somebody acting against himself because it's still Brent Spiner. But Lore was at his best here, and so was Data. And I'm talking all time 1987 till now best, as far as that reasoning and them going back and forth, and him just pulling shit out of his ass to here. You want my cat? here's my thing with Tasha Yar. You got to see the hologram Tasha Yar, and then Laura's just taking it. I'm surprised Laura didn't figure that out sooner. I figured it out just right in the middle. I'm like, he's gonna end up basically becoming him somehow because he's going to experience these memories as he absorbs them, and that's exactly what Data was doing. And I thought Laura was at least at Data's level as far as reaction and intelligence, but he got fooled, and it was. I was
well. He started to notice. He started to notice because he's like, "Why do you keep giving me these memories?" And Data was like, "Well,
you have nothing
because you have nothing. They're going to become part of you now." Like so, Laura figured something was going on after a bit,
Well, at that time, it was too late. He'd already
he
lost his ability to respond, and that's where Data had him. And he overpowered Data, which was the plan. It's for him to overpower Data. And then when Data takes over the ship, he basically flips the whole board. The Titan comes in, Worf the serial killer. We're gonna have to build this episode. It's got to be a body count somewhere. But he kills. I love the way that they snuck on that ship. By the way, there is a cameo appearance of that's the Delta Flyer or a ship like it because it cloaked. It came in cloaked, and you could see it. They actually showed it coming in cloaked. So he was able to get on that ship, and I thought.
Oh no, that was the Lost Serena.
Okay. That was the Serena.
Oh, okay. Because I couldn't. Oh, that's right. That's right. She has that. I forgot all about that. Don't forget about 2 seasons. But
kind of.
He was able to get on there. I was wrong about Deanna. I thought they had used a changeling to try to get him to say stuff, and it was her.
It was 100% her.
Yeah,
legit. And then, I was like, oh.
I was like, oops! I lost. That wasn't on my bingo card, so I was happy to see that. You had the whole crew. You had them all. The only people we're missing that they have advertised, and you know now she has to be in these next 2 episodes, is Guinan. Because Guinan is guaranteed on the show. So, I mean, they've done a good job with the whole. When they came in at that last scene where they're all sitting around the table again, I thought that was cool.
I love when Worf at that scene was talking about he wanted, of all the people he'd killed, he wanted to send them heads, but he was told it was passive aggressive.
Yeah, and he's like, beheadings are on Tuesday. He did something else that made me laugh. When he rescues them, he rescues Deanna and Riker. He's like, coming onto her almost, and Riker's like, "Wait a minute, is it the torture still?" Jonathan Frakes has been absolutely hilariously great in this last season. I mean, he hasn't missed a beat. I actually care more about his character now, given what he's been through, than I did, in the old days. Because
you can tell they care about these characters, and it really, really shows. Like there's a love there that you don't normally see in television, that you can only get from a group of people that have been working together off and on for upwards of 40 years.
I love that. I love that him and Deanna got closure for Thad, basically.
Yeah, that conversation was kind of cool. I didn't know she was doing that to him in his mind to relieve his pain, and how he basically said, "I needed to suffer. I mean, I needed to find my way, and you took that from me." And so, yeah, I did like that. I liked the fact that there was closure there. It wasn't generic closure. It was legit. This is how real life people handle this in 2023. So it's probably going to be the same way that they handled it in doing the thing. Like I said, I even thought the sub crew, the people who are at the front of crew, those ensigns and all that, I thought they did great. Baddick, like I said, she deserves at least an Emmy nomination for this how she's played this character. Amanda Plummer was.
I was getting tired of her monologue.
But I think that was by design, though.
Well, I get it.
I think she was supposed to. Yeah. I was getting the soliloquies were getting a little bit much, but
I was like, can you just hurry up and just get to the goddamn point already?
But she was so broken, though, and that was the thing that was about her, and she was so unstable. And her last lines were great.
Fucking solids. Fucking solids.
By the way, I've gotten a lot of people that were messaging me, and in my own little groups were like, "Oh, changeling." They kept on telling me. that wouldn't have happened that way because changelings can travel through space, and those changing that you were talking about can understand though. They sacrificed the people that she brought into her blood crew, sacrificed a lot of their ability to be able to get this vengeance. And when they transformed, if you notice when they transformed, it was still a flesh component, even though they were able to assume other things. So that DNA and that flesh component that they've had added to them made them as susceptible and as vulnerable to the same things as we would be, even if they could change shape. If they get sucked into the space vacuum, they're actually gonna freeze just like we would, and actually a lot more because of the changing component would turn them basically into glass, which is exactly what happened to her. I actually didn't think they were going to kill her until I saw her break up.
Yeah, I was like,
Lifespan too.
Wow, they're gonna kill her that fast. All right, cool.
Yeah, but then, like I said, that just tells you that guy that was in the the guy that was controlling her. And plus, remember, there's other changes out there. Like, don't forget the ghost, the zombie Riker guy. He's out there still. We got to rescue two out. There's just so much stuff we have to do in these last two episodes. These last two episodes are going to be great. And then, like I said, we got some special guests. I'll announce those in the season finale that are going to give us a lot of insight. That season finale show that airs after episode 10 is going to be a long. Is it 10? Yeah, 10. It's going to be a long episode. That's going to be like a 2-hour episode because I don't think we're not going to want to let these guys talk because us talking, we're guessing at shit. The people that we have coming know shit. So it's going to be fun to have that happen. Stella, let's go ahead and run through the chat and our adoring public. And Thade, who we can't see because hiding behind the crew. I think Jack is possessed by a Paul Wraith, and they'll have to use the tablet of reckoning that Picard has at home. I've heard Paul Wraiths a lot.
I just don't think so. I don't see it.
I think it's the Borg. I think that. Did you see the preview?
No, I'm just saying like there's no connection between the
Picard and the Paul Wraiths
or the Paul Wraiths. So like if it would say Benjamin Sisko, I will 100% get on board. But anybody but Ben Sisko or Jake, any kind of Sisko with last name, like that's what I want. And I don't. I'm still going with the obvious. I don't subscribe to the Trek Yards theory.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the obvious one. Is that he's a Borg, and that behind that door when they open it, it's Locutus.
I don't think it's Locutus. It's a female voice. I think it's the Borg Queen, and I think he's something more than just human and Borg. I think he's
a hybrid.
He's a new evolution of.
But see, then why do they want to steal? Why did they want to steal those parts of Picard's brain that had that syndrome in it? So many questions.
That's a good question.
Are they going to try to replicate it and give everybody and turn everybody into the Borg? Because the parts of that are in his brain, weren't those where his implants were? I don't know.
Probably.
So maybe there's a way that they're going to use Jack. I don't know. I just don't. Even 8 episodes in, I don't have enough crumbs to make a cake yet.
Nope.
I'm still in the dark. All right. Aaron Pritchard, man, this episode of Picard reminds me of Stranger Things, and that Jack is the Will Byers of yeah, it does. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's a good lineup. Next one. Hi, Mario Faith Warrior. Aloha to you as well. I felt like Tavine dying. Oh yeah, it was a waste, especially in the end of the making of the Titan show. And by the way, guys, I'll bet you just about anything here. This is not the end of this crew. And I think that they knew that coming in. I think that they had a trigger switch coming in. So they're.
Terry Metalis mentioned the other day on Twitter that if we want the Star Trek Legacy show that's going to involve the Titans crew, he's got treatments for it, but he doesn't have the go-ahead from Paramount yet, so he wants us all to hashtag Star Trek Legacy as much as we can.
I think Paramount is already in their own internal, even if they haven't told him. I think there's no way that they're not going to go forward with those crews. And if you see the way that they're writing them, they are writing them in a way that they have, even though they've just been introduced this year, they have backstory already built in because of this show. And then even with certain characters that, like the one lieutenant who she was going to kill, but ends up killing the Vulcan instead. Javine,
Yeah.
he has it. Now we get to find out about his son. We already have half the crew that has a backstory already. Shaw has been featured heavily. Seven has damn near 30 years of backstory. And I don't know how she's not aging. That is a 55-year-old woman. And they keep making me feel like crap by putting her in 2001 7 of 9 next to 2023 Commander 7. And I'm like, what is she drinking off the same route as what's this guy, Paul Rudd? I'm like, she's one of those ones that could play for a couple of years. So I mean, if it wasn't for the blatant way that they're developing these characters and within the 8 episodes that they've had, and you got 2 more episodes, there's no way they're not gonna go forward with this. I think Paramount, and I think that might have been one of the reasons, because we'll never know about it until they come out with it, that Discovery was gone, and one of the main reasons I think even Strange New Worlds will only go about 4 seasons, because they're going to want to have one in the pipeline as one is ending, and after Strange New World ends, this would be the next logical one to have going forward, because you already had a test audience with Section 31 and any of these other things that they're bouncing around right now. The advantage that Titan would have, and I hope they don't call it Titan. I hope they blow up the Titan and get the Enterprise in there, a new Enterprise. But whatever this show is and what it's called, you've already had a audience building period. You already know how we responded. I mean, I don't. All the Star Trek groups I'm in, everybody's pissed that Tavine died. You had 8 episodes, not 8 years of this character, and people were like emotionally like, why did they have to kill her? I mean, and I felt it. I'm like, yeah. So you have that emotional attachment to these characters already. I just no way. I would, like I said, they're gonna go for it. The only thing that I think needs to be decided right now is pissed off positronic security officer. Yeah, Data had me rolling the whole episode, but yeah, I think you're gonna see more of this crew. I think you're gonna see a lot more of this crew, and Brian should be happy.
That's all I want, man. I just want a continuation on this timeline with some of these characters, and an occasional run-in, as it were, by some legacy characters. Like, dude, can't we not just go to like Quark's bar for an episode? We've seen it in the background. Can't get Armin Shimmerman in there for like 10 seconds.
He's under heavy makeup, so even though he's much older,
can't have Norm. Oh, tell me he wouldn't do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen these guys acting since some of the Star Trek. Most of these guys are just showing up at conventions. They're like, "Hey, give me my $30,000."
Yeah, they're doing the circuit, but dude, tell me they like just see like how happy the next generation characters, the actors and stuff are, just to come back for just a little bit,
From crappy season of Discovery until Picard season 3, this is how long it took to get Star Trek. Actually, I don't know, because season two of Discovery was epic to me. That was
better, yeah.
Well, because you had the same showrunners for the whole, remember they fired Brian Fuller and all that. That whole messy first season. But season 2 probably will go down as one of the most important seasons of Star Trek, just like the Best of Both Worlds season, the cliffhanger there. Because remember, we're Star Trek, in retrospect, we like to think of Star Trek Next Generation as the greatest thing since sliced bread. It wasn't, though. Its ratings were not good. And up to Best of Both Worlds, it was struggling to stay on. After Best of Both Worlds, part 1 and 2, it was a whole different ballgame. And I think with season 2 of Discovery, especially bringing in Captain Pike and Enterprise, Ethan Peck, all these guys, I think that's a hugely important series, because everything that you have going forward was based on that momentum. So, I mean, one of the people, people can say what they want about Discovery. To me, it's undeniable that it's why we are here talking about new Trek instead of, wow, when are we getting another J.J. Abrams movie? The big difference there.
Well, no, I get you, and I respect that fact, but also, like, after the Next Generation had its run, we were like, all right, well, what's freaking the movie gonna do? Or what's, there was like a future there,
Yeah, and except Generations, I know certain people love it. I would have written that movie something different. I don't know if you kill Kirk in there. I don't know if we're just all hanging out on the planet riding horses. I need to see. That's not how I envisioned them meeting. If I ever did envision them meeting,
that right there is a studio mandate.
Yeah, I just want to interject. Way back when, remember how we were all complaining about Rick Berman?
well, not me. Rick Berman and Baron Brogger were gods to me as far as Star Trek goes. They were the people that were doing CPR on Star Trek to keep it alive during a certain time.
Yeah, but also with Berman, he did increase the risk of franchise fatigue. That's why Enterprise was canceled.
Nah, Enterprise was canceled because UPN was weak, and old Trek fan, was like like a parasite, would not let go of the body of Star Trek long enough for that body to actually grow.
And that old body is still amongst us. I get criticized.
The parasite has been taken off, though. The parasite has been taken off and put under glass now, where he's safe. He can't hurt the body anymore like he could back in 2000.
I don't know. The parasite is still there strong, William, because I hear it I see it every day, man.
Well, no, the parasite is there, but theoretically. No. Well, the parasite is there, but the studios, the people running the show, are not engaging with the parasite. So the parasite he can be out there, but he's not attached to our good shows. He's not ruining shows anymore. Yeah, it's a difference between him being around and doing damage. That's probably what I mean.
But also, what I've been saying is, since they decided to go back to a series format, and not give any more credence to the J.J. Abrams movies, which I hope do not continue, to be honest.
You're gonna get a fourth.
As much as I love the actors, hey, if one comes up, fine. But it's been too long. They kept that on the shelf way too long.
Well, it's because those guys made money. See, all those guys were not nobodies, but they weren't the kind of paid type of people they were now. Hemsworth wasn't making the kind of scratch that he's making that he's making now. He wasn't Thor. There's a difference between being Lieutenant Kirk and then what he went through the transformation as far as
since then.
Yeah.
But again, it's still Star Trek's still evolving, and at least the TV series writing is a hell of a lot better than what it started out with. Yes, I appreciate J.J. Abrams for keeping it alive, but going back to a TV series format, we're finally beginning to hit the groove. I mean, Strange New Worlds, not to take anything away from that, was good. I was very happy seeing Captain Pike, a young Spock, seeing what number one's about. But I swear, Picard season 3, this is Nemesis that we were supposed to get but never did. So this is the final send-off for this crew, the way it should have been.
With Nemesis, they got comfortable after they never reached movie-wise the heights that First Contact did with that crew. Insurrection was horrid, and Nemesis was a really great episode, but not something I should have paid to see in a theater. But I like the variety I have now. So go ahead.
No, it's just that was muddled. I mean, everyone was like, the odd, number out. Even numbers are decent, but it started to fade. The writing wasn't there.
The writing wasn't there, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of those guys at that point, and I won't say they mailed it in, but they didn't have the appreciation. You can see the appreciation now, 30 some odd years later, that they not only have for each other, but they have in this franchise. Aaron Pritchard, I love seeing Deanna and Worf interacting with each other. It was like they were flirting. Yeah, I loved Riker's response to that. It was great.
Yeah, if you watch, the Ready Room, they have a little segment with Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis, talking about how they tried to keep the Riker Troy romance going, even though the writers and the suit the higher ups in the suits didn't want it.
They pitched the shows too, after they were all said and done.
Yeah, no, so I'm glad they kept it up.
Well, and you also have Alex Kurtzman too. Also got to give him a lot of credit because he's taking some risks. Yeah, listen, he's taking risks. He's taking risks that paid off. They paid off, So I think Trek's in good hands with him because there's just so much out there. If you don't like something, you can go to something else. It's just really cool, and we didn't have that.
Yeah, there's always the option of turning it off or just changing the channel. If you don't like it, Go
or
find
going to
something
another
that
Trek.
makes you happy.
Yeah. And
You
now
know?
that could be another Trek show. Whereas
See, I'm
before,
starting to not like that attitude anymore
Which
because there can be made something can be made for somebody. You know,
yeah, well,
that's
that's
I think that's something that we've demonstrated. So I think it's a little. I don't know. I this is just my opinion. I'm no longer gonna say if you don't like it, don't watch it, because obviously you can find something to like in it.
well that's
Yeah.
just it. Everyone forgets you can change a channel. You know, instead of hate watching, which is essentially what some people do, why don't you go find something you like, you enjoy? I mean, life is too short to stand there and complain, you
Keep it
know,
Trek.
and
I argue it's the same thing about people complaining about the show. So
yeah,
it's like I just don't
yeah.
engage. Like
Again, I'm
watch the
always
show, enjoy it, and stay off of the Twitter arguments
yeah,
because
I mean,
it's a waste of time.
if it's not your cup of tea, hey, there are choices now. We're not in the 1950s when we're stuck to 3 channels and very limited
And one,
programming.
one TV for a family.
All
Yeah.
right, let's hit some of this chat again. Let's see. I see
Oh
Monkey
no, we're
Keys.
caught up on the chat. We're caught up on the
So
chat.
we're caught on the
We're
chat.
caught up on the chat, William. Honest.
Okay, cool.
Just making sure. Cool. So I got about 20 minutes left, 15, 20 minutes left. So I saw the preview for next episode because I was watching Ready Room, but the first thing I always do before I watch Ready Room is I speed to that
Oh, you
preview.
want to go to the end? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see the thing. And they're at that same goddamn door again. I'm like, open the door. How could you do that to me?
And it's
Open
always
the
a red
door.
door too.
That was the worst part about this episode 8. When they opened, I knew they weren't going to do it, but I'm like, open the door. And then they did the same thing. Or Deanna opens the door and sees something that she's like, oh, I got to go. So
Yeah,
Deanna knows.
Excuse me. Bye.
Yeah, that was hilarious. She knows. So that's why I'm thinking Borg, because obviously she's as familiar with the Borg as anybody would. And him being able to control people like that and the voices in his head, it could be the Borg Queen. I don't know if I'm okay with it being a Borg Queen again because it's a go-to enemy for them that they've gone to a lot. I mean, it works here, but we've gone to her a lot. I don't know if that's going to be I don't know how the fans will take that. But then again, you know what? It makes sense, though. Even though I think the Borg have been overused in certain situations, it does make sense in this one if he's got the nanoprobes in his blood. And if they took those implants out of his head and they have that television, maybe there's some way that they're trying to control an entire society. But I also need to know who the meathead is, the guy behind Vivadic.
Yeah, well, when you figure it's whatever nanites are left in Picard's bloodstream, they've been marinating all this time.
Ew.
They seem to look like aromatic syndrome. So they're percolating in Picard, and then by the time, he procreates with Crusher, Jack has the fully formed whatever this was going to be in. But what I'm confused is, why do changelings know about it? What is their involvement?
Well, because whoever's running and changing the show,
is?
whoever's running and changing the show, and the guy who I've been talking to, I gave him a bunch of lists of guests. He said, you're going to be surprised who it is. I'm like, God damn it, don't do that to me. So I got to wait. So he'd say, and he knows I'm old school Trek. I've seen it all. So he's saying it's going to surprise me. That's telling you something, that somebody thought this out, and it's going to, like, when you see it, when you see who it is, it's going to blow your mind. And whoever it is can control changelings, but I don't think he is one.
Nope.
Anthony, the Vulcans joined. The Vulcans were some of the starters of the Federation. They didn't join it in Picard.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah, they were the first 2 member nations, member planets of the Federation.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that come about in the story. But these next 2 episodes, we're going to see Guinan. We're going to see the whole crew again. Hopefully, nobody meaningful dies. That'll be another sign that if the majority of the Titan crew makes it through alive. When I say the majority of the crew, I mean the main crew, the main bridge crew that of every Star Trek show. You see, if those guys all make it unscathed, you're getting another show. You're getting another show. I can't, very rarely do the Star Trek develop characters to the length that they develop these characters in this show and not use them again.
The story of the start of the Federation, Anthony, is actually in a show called Enterprise.
Yeah.
Sort
So you might kind of you might want to start there if you want this information here.
Yeah, or if you've just seen, Star Trek First Contact, that is when humans are introduced to Vulcans, because they're the ones that see us messing around with warp engines, and they decided to come check us out. So that's why, we had First Contact Day for us nerds that celebrate.
Just passed, by the way. It just passed on last Thursday?
Yeah. Just go watch Star Trek First Contact. It's with the Next Generation crew. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, try not to get too angry about how Enterprise ends, though, and just go ahead and skip that last episode. Just skip it. That episode sucked. I think that last episode. But believe me, with this atmosphere we have in Star Trek with these shows, I don't have to have another Enterprise show. But you got enough shows. I don't care. You know what? If you fixed Enterprise on Lower Decks, I'll be a fan of Lower Decks. How about that? That's how much I want them to right that wrong that they inflicted old Trek and UPN inflicted upon us 20 years ago. So
yeah, well, like I said, the Lower Decks is really fun. Everyone thinks it's a kid's cartoon, and it's not. There's a lot of adult humor in it. Prodigy is actually geared towards kids, but
and that's a lot. You know what? I watched Prodigy, and that's for kids.
Yeah, that is for kids, but not Lower Decks. Not for Lower Decks. Everyone thinks it's a misnomer just because it's a cartoon.
I'm watching Prodigy, and I'm like, this is about as deep as all the other stuff, especially towards the end there.
Mm-hmm.
That was
that's enough to watch Prodigy.
Yeah, so yeah, watch Prodigy. Prodigy's pretty good, especially if you like Voyager. And now we get to see they gotta give you Janeway. She's got to be the full admiral.
She'll probably be at Frontier Day.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and read that, somebody.
Would you say guys say Picard is more geared towards your generation of Star Trek friends, or could younger generations be into the show who haven't watched Star Trek at all? Some of the connections to are connected to an older show called Star Trek: The Next Generation, because that's where this crew came from. But I mean, I don't know. Picard's kind of a hard sell unless you're know some of the stuff from the previous show. I think if you're looking for a stepping on show to watch, and if you're not upset about watching a show that's 30 years old, you might go back and watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is actually streaming on Paramount Plus, where all the Star Trek stream. But geared to a certain generation, I mean, I don't know.
I think it's very readable. I think it's very readable to just about any generation. Yeah, you're gonna have to go. You might have to go back for reference, but not to the point where it jams the show up for you. I'll say that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, everything is on Paramount Plus, which is accessible through Prime Video if you want to subscribe through that way. But also right now, the motion picture collection is on HBO Max, which means all of the Star Trek original series movies and the Next Generation movies are on there. So whichever formats you have, not a bad thing to watch if you have the time. And that'll give you, a concise feel of the original series and Next Generation.
Aaron, I do agree. This is probably one of my favorite Star Trek movies as well. It's in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my top 2 with Wrath of Khan.
To answer this question, Anthony, actually the best Star Trek right now, if you really want just a jumping in point, go back and watch last year's season of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, Discovery season 2, because in fact,
What's up, Damien? How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing, Damien?
Watch Star Trek Discovery season 2 and then go into Strange New Worlds, in my opinion. That's just me.
Yeah, just to get the touch of what Pike is about. And that's when the writing started getting a heck of a lot better.
Yeah. And that was the dilemma that Pike he's introduced with and that he carries with him during. I'm not going to tell you what it is if you haven't seen him. Damien, but or whoever, but there's a dilemma that he has to address in season 2 of Discovery that is literally the basis of Strange New Worlds. So and I love the way they did that. So
Oh, hey, William, I finally saw that episode the other day where he gets the thing and sees his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, don't get and that to me,
Yeah.
that's what sold me on Strange New Worlds, because you're not just talking about a prequel. Just the things that experience right now changes everything for me, and it changes everything for him. And you that story literally carries over. That dilemma he has, once you guys watch that, you see how it carries over in there. So, and like I said, Anson Mount's a great actor. Rebecca Romijn, all those people in there are great. Ethan Peck, Gregory Peck's grandson, I didn't know that till later on, is great in there. Gregory Peck, all-time great actor, Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep. Ethan has the chops, so may he
Something
continue.
I didn't know. Oh, by the way, guys, for those of you, 2 things I got to make a correction on. A, I don't know why they did this, but Paramount sent these to me. So, guys, I've notified you that you are winners. Yeah, it's coming from me. So, whatever. And I thought it was going to be a steelbook. They originally said steelbook, but I got a Blu-ray instead. So, but it's free.
This is not an NBC series. It won't be on Peacock. It will be on Paramount Plus that you can get through Amazon Prime or as a standalone.
Although,
Okay.
for history's sake, yes, Star Trek did first appear, the original series, on NBC for 3 seasons until they got canceled. But
And it was on
NBC has no association with it anymore. It's wherever you can access Paramount Plus is the best way to find everything Star Trek.
When Peacock first started, they did have Star Trek on there until the license expired, and then Peacock.
Yeah.
The Paramount
I mean, yeah, probably in the future, with licensing and stuff, they do share out things. But to get everything, Paramount Plus is the only way if you can swing it.
Oh, and Prodigy is actually shared by Nickelodeon, so you may catch newer episodes of Prodigy on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, well, it's still under the purview of
Viacom,
Paramount. Yeah. Viacom Paramount.
Okie dokie. What else we got?
We're caught up on the chat.
All right. Anybody got any last thoughts about this episode, and what are you expecting from next week's episode? It's called Vox. This means voices.
Vox. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy. Not that I don't want to analyze it, trying to figure it out. I'm just gonna relax and again enjoy what they have for me.
Yeah,
I am not a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. I'm just gonna enjoy what is being presented, because we only have 2 episodes left and I don't want to get off this ride. So I'm just going to take what comes.
Glad we don't have to wait a long time for next Star Trek to come out. June is when Strange New Worlds comes out, so we're good there. They should have used Luke Campbell as Captain Kirk in Strange New Worlds. Ooh, no.
No, besides, he was the dad. He played Kirk's father.
What was Kirk's father's name?
And that's Liam, not Luke.
Yeah.
And then Kirk's brother's in there. Brian, what are you expecting? What were your final thoughts on episode?
I kind of agree with Stella. I was very happy with this episode, but I don't want to sit there and speculate. I've enjoyed taking this show as it comes, so I'm going to continue to do that.
I can't. I just don't have.
Well, my thing is I don't really hang out on a nightly basis with folks that speculate. It's always some freaking comic book nonsense. So I'm just like, all right, well, whatever. I'll entertain that for a night. So
yeah,
but nobody wants to entertain Star Trek, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, we're all sad, Aaron. Trust me, we all are.
I'm so happy I don't have to do it, honestly.
Brian, if you want to hit me up and message me, we could play the speculation game
trust
all
me.
night, brother.
I am just very happy to not speculate on Star Trek. It's like the only one thing that's making me happy about it.
Personally, for me, just my opinion real quick, I like this season of Picard. I wasn't too thrilled with the previous 2 seasons of Picard. I have my reasons I won't get into here. But this Strange New Worlds brought me back to Trek. This one's keeping me in the saddle. And I am so happy for that. And now I'm starting to look at the other Treks. I'm starting to look at Discovery and stuff like that. And even though there's parts of Discovery that even make me roll my eyes, uh, I feel like comfortable in saying that I'm back in the saddle with Star Trek, which makes me happy. I agree with Stella. I don't want to get off this ride. I hate that there's only 2 more episodes left. Uh, I hope that we get more with this Titan crew. That Star Trek Legacy show, because like I saw something that I really appreciated in one of the earlier episodes of this season, and that was watching. It was during when they went to the Fleet Museum. I really appreciated watching the interaction between uh, Seven and Jack. I think they would make a good captain first officer combo. I mean, I know Jack's got to rise up through the ranks now because he's not Starfleet, but I think that they would
He'd make a
work
good
well
medical,
together.
'cause he's a doctor. He'd make a good medic. I can see him being
Yeah.
on the show as a medic.
Liam's
Liam
too
is a
tall.
bit tall.
All right, guys. I think we've covered all the bases. You already know what I think about it. I am going to speculate because my mind is just going to do that, and that's just no.
Oh,
But
that's
I have
fine.
nothing to go on. I have nothing to go on, so it's useless. I think this next show is going to at least we find out who and what Jack is finally, and then I think towards the end of this episode, I think we're going to see who our big baddie is. And like I said, I've been told that I'm going to be shocked at who it is. So if that's the truth, I'm waiting to be blown away. So. All right. Thank you,
We're just a
everybody.
few hours away from Frontier Day.
Yeah, no, we've been like a few hours for like eight months now, it seems like. Thank you, everybody who was able to show up for the panel tonight. Thank you for your input. Thank you for the chat and your input. And we will see you.
One last question.
Why do you guys think you see more animated stuff with Star Wars compared to Star Trek? Because it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
It's less of a risk. Not so many people can lose their jobs if it doesn't do well.
And Aaron says, "Amazing stream, everybody."
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for being
Love
here.
you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for being your amazing part of it. And that is it until tomorrow, where we got a very, very packed show. We may have to start earlier because I got 3 independent filmmakers that'll be on tomorrow. We have all this to talk about. And then I haven't even touched on the goofy congressional thing going on with Warner Brothers Discovery that is going to go nowhere. I've had people tagging me all day. William, what do you think of the investigation about the merger? It's dead on arrival, but we'll go into that in detail tomorrow. I'll explain why it's dead on arrival. It's a smoke show. And then we'll go into, I'm pretty sure talking tomorrow are going to take up a good bulk of our time. Our fans seem to love the indie filmmakers, so we got 3 of them tomorrow.
Earlier in the day tomorrow, I will be dropping a recorded show. It will not be a stream about what happened on the first day of Star Wars Celebration. I've got my thoughts on the stuff that was announced today.
One good trailer and a whole lot of cringe. Oh,
Pretty much. And some stuff that's probably never going to happen. So yeah,
Live
we'll
long
all.
and prosper.
What's up?
So, live long and prosper, everybody.
I couldn't hear what you said, Brian.
Oh, I said there's a lot of stuff that's probably not going to get done.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we will see you tomorrow for the long haul.